When the teacher asked if she might visit with my mother, I touched my nose 8 times to the surface of my desk. May I take that as a yes? She asked. You see, according to her calculation, I had left my chair 28 times that day. You're up and down like a flea. I turned my back for 2 minutes, and there you are with your tongue pressed against the light switch. Maybe they do that where you come from, but here in my classroom, we do not leave our seats and lick things whenever we please. That is Miss Chestnut's last switch, and she would like to keep it dry. Would you like me to go to your house and licking the light switches in your home? I tried to picture her in action, but, well, my shoe was calling. Take me off. Tap my heel against your forehead. We got to do that quick. No one will notice. Well, I'm asking you a question. Would you or would you not want me licking the light switches in your home? I took off my shoe. I was pretending to examine the imprint of the heel. You're going to hit yourself over the head with that shoe, aren't you? It wasn't me. It was Kathy. How did she know what I was about to do? I believe that knowledge leads to insight, leads to wisdom, and we can only truly learn about things when we didn't understand them to start with, and I believe that applies to people. We can only truly become wise about things, about people, if we surround ourselves with the ones that we do not originally understand. And I want to give you the opportunity to experience that today in a program on OCD and other mental illnesses entitled Know Me, with the prose of Plague of Ticks by David Sedaris, the drama I Am a Mentally Ill Person as portrayed in a movie by Jeffrey Blum, and the poetries A Good Day by Kate Rokowski, Explaining My Depression to My Mother, A Conversation by Sabrina Benham, OCD by Neil Hilborn, and Clatter by Neil Hilborn. Hi, I'm a mentally ill person as portrayed in a movie. When I'm a woman, I'm mainly concerned with how my illness affects the emotional arc of some guy. When I'm a man, it's more likely my illness manifests itself in being really good at math. And yelling. As a male mentally ill person, I do lots of yelling. However, as a female, my mental illness cannot be allowed to preclude my sex appeal, so I do less yelling. Following Miss Chestnut's visit, my father attempted to cure me with a series of, well, threats. You touch your nose against that windshield one more time, I'll guarantee you wish you hadn't. It was nearly impossible for me to sit in the passenger seat of a car and not press my nose against the windshield. But when he got me moving toward my target, I had a bit of golf club like the blood from my nose. Would you like to feel that? Like was too feeble a word for how I felt that night. I loved it! If matched with the right amount of force, the blow of the nose would be positively narcotic. Super touching my big, satisfied mental itch, but they always loved a great deal of movement. Run upstairs, across the room, and move. I took out the same emergency room to film my confines of my own body. Yesterday, I spent $60 on groceries. I carried the bags home with 2 good arms. Back to my studio apartment. I took myself there. You and I may have different definitions of a big day. You see, this week I paid my rent and my credit card bill. I worked 60 hours between my 2 jobs, only saw the sun on my breaks, slept like a rock, flossed in the morning, locked the doors, and I remembered to buy eggs. My mother is proud of me. It is not the kind of pride that she brags about on the golf course, but she is proud. How do people respond to my illness? Well, the obviously recognizable symptoms are somehow incredibly hard to grasp. Why are you like this? Rudely ask my family about behavior that in real life would have been explained to them by my childhood psychologist. I don't understand you. Screws my girlfriend who's been with me for years, but never figured out that I go to a doctor twice a week and take prescription medicine for a reason. The first time I saw her, everything in my head went quiet. All the ticks, all the constantly refreshing images, they just disappeared. And when you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you don't really get a lot of quiet moments, but the first time I saw her, the only thing I could think about was the hairpin curve of her lip. Or the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek. I knew I had to talk to her. Mom, my depression is a shapeshifter. One day it's as small as a firefly in the palm of a bear. The next, it's the bear. I asked her out 6 times in 30 seconds. She said yes after the 3rd, but none of them felt right. So I had to keep going. On those days I play dead until the bear leaves me alone. She remembers what came before this. She remembers the weeks where I forgot how to use my muscles, how I would stay silent as a thick fog. She thought each call from an unknown number was the notice of my suicide. These were the bad days. My life was a gift I wanted to return. My head was a house of leaking faucets and burnt out light bulbs and depression. He's a good lover. It's so attentive. it has this way of making everything about you, and it is easy to forget that your bedroom is not the world. The dark shadows your paint casts are not mood lighting, so today I slept in until 10. I cleaned every dish that I own. I thought with the bank. I took care of paperwork. On our first date, I spent more time organizing my food by color than I did eating it or talking to her, but she loved it. She loved that I had to kiss her goodbye 16 times or 24 times on Wednesdays. She loved that it took me forever to walk home because there are lots of cracks in our sidewalk, and when we moved in together, she said she always felt safe. Like no one would ever rob us because I definitely locked the door 18 times. I used to watch her mouth when she talked, when she said that she loved me, her mouth would curve at the edges. And at night, she used to stand by the light switch, and I would turn it off, and then back on, and up, and 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 she would just close her eyes, and she would imagine that the days and the nights were just passing in front of her. But some mornings, I would start to kiss her goodbye, and she would just leave because I was making her late for work. Mom, my depression affects me everywhere. At night, I don't sleep. Mom says try counting sheep, but my mind can only count reasons to stay awake. So I go for long walks. The lights that are kneecaps clank like silver spoons, calling strong arms with loose wrists. They ring in my ears like clumsy church bells, reminding me that I am sleepwalking in an ocean of happiness that I cannot baptize myself in. You and I may have different definitions of adult. You see, this week was a good week. You see, this week, I knew that my mother loved me. See, this week, I knew that I could do my job, and my mother was proud of me. See, I burned down the house of depression. I painted over murals of grayscale, and it was hard to rewrite my life into one I wanted to live, but today I want to live. I didn't salivate over sharp knives, or envy the boy who tossed himself off the Brooklyn Bridge. I just cleaned my bathroom. I called my brother, and I told him it was a good day. When I stopped at a crack in the sidewalk, she just kept walking. When she said she loved me, her mouth was a straight line. She told me that I was taking up too much of her time. Last week, she started sleeping in her mother's place. It is impossible to imagine a color that you have not seen. I can't kill my mother because she makes me panic. She told me that she shouldn't have let me get so attached to her, that this whole thing was a mistake, but how could it be a mistake that I don't have to wash my hands after I touch her? Love is not a mistake, and it's killing me that she can walk away from this, and I just can't. Well, when I say I'm crying, what I really mean is that I want to cry, but I can't go out and find someone new because I always think of her. Usually when I obsess over things, I see germs seeping into my skin. I see myself crushed by an endless succession of cars, and she was the first beautiful thing I ever got stuck on instead of dying. The jellyfish simply ceases to move. Glass moves like any other liquid. But so, Mom says happy is a decision, but my happy is a high fever that will break. My happy is as hollow as a pinpricked egg. I complete 5 puzzles a day just to stop the panic. Trucks fly down shit on Main Street. Most people I do to stop the panic. Mom says that I am so good at making something out of nothing, and then flat out asks me if I am afraid of dying. No. I am afraid of living. I never cry about things outside of my own head because they seem so far away. I want to wake up every morning thinking about the way she holds her steering wheel. How she turns shower knobs like she is opening a safe. How she blows out candles, 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 blows out candles. Mom still doesn't understand. Mom, can't you see that neither can I? Has partially combustive cyanide, napalm, which is gasoline and plastic. I am just carbon and bad timing. Now I just think about who else is kissing her, and I can't breathe because he only kisses her once. He doesn't care if it's perfect. I think if I was someone else, I would still be mentally ill. I want her back so bad. I leave the doors unlocked. I leave the lights on. It is impossible! to imagine a color that you have not seen.